So the future challenges and things that we see out there is obviously we see a challenge that I'm not exactly sure how we would resolve is IoT is obviously the smart devices that we have. We have so much information flying around on the smart devices where people are carrying healthcare on their watches. And the problem that we see on the smart devices is that you can't implement any security. It can't even take a password. You can't actually process complex attacks on this actual device. And the other problem that we see is obviously they need to stay competitive on rates. So that will not change. It needs to be a competitive cost. So we need to, they develop and produce these products, but they can't handle any security. And as we are sharing more of our lives on these smart devices, and whether it's a toaster in the house or whether it's a washing machine, it is potentially posing a risk for us. And it's not going away. And especially in the healthcare environments, there are ways, obviously, creating isolated networks. But as soon as you're inside the isolated network, these devices are carrying a lot of very important information that we can't protect. And it's shared over the internet as we speak. AI makes it more easy. We were talking about numbers earlier from some of the hosted services where it increased from 40 or 30 million attacks per month.
I'm not going to spoil Chris's.
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers.
It was 23 million last year.
And now it's 80 million.
Yes, yes.
So there are literally people doing this as a career. There's a town in Europe called Hackerville. There's actually a BBC documentary where the guy makes a career decision. I want to become a hacker, and it becomes easier and easier. And essentially, we can now buy tools to hack networks. And it's literally how they would do it is a pray and spray attack. So they might just buy more CPU power, and they have these tools, not highly educated always, and it's literally just spending more time, waking up a little bit earlier, and this is a career that's lucrative, and if I'm successful, I get paid for it. So there's a town called Hackerville where people are driving nice cars, not sure what cars exactly, but and this is a reality, and this is not going away. And the numbers we see today will just keep on increasing. And again, I want to circle back to the opening is 93% of all these breaches that we're referring to and all these concerns could easily be avoided. Another problem that we often see is obviously if a lot of organizations and applications are moving to the cloud, providing a service in the cloud, and often they are not set up according to best practices. We were talking about the assumptions around the cloud. Everything is secure, everything is backed up, everything is updated, everything is password protected, and we often now also see it's not the case. So we don't always have very experienced players coming into providing these cloud services. And that's a big risk. How many, you are hosting this application, how many locations, how often do you provide a backup? And we see a lot of mistakes being made in that. And then one more big problem that we have in our world is that the business owner has the attitude, it will never happen to us. And if we look at the news doesn't actually cover anything about the small, medium enterprise hacks, but they only were talking about the large scale hacks that affected large numbers. And there's a lack of awareness on the small, medium enterprise and the SME sort of market. And that's a big problem. And it will probably not go away because journalists will not be interested to start sharing more information on a small company around the corner with 150 or 200 staff that's been affected, because it's just not as attractive in publishing something in those lines. And then I think in our world, one of the biggest problems that we see is there's no clear MOT or standard before we can drive our business or drive our car. There's no clear, everybody can do whatever they want. There's no form of standard say, you have to have these 7 or 9 things in place before you can start a business. And I think that is, we're sort of screaming for a standard. And I strongly believe if there could be a standard, a framework that over 80% of all breaches on SMEs could be stopped.